A beautiful time in the world of sports, from tennis to table tennis to football, amongst others. Good evening and welcome to Game On, a program that brings you up to speed concerning happenings in the world of sport, where we also dissect and analyze topical issues, especially, of course, in Nigeria and across the world. I'm Favour, Itua, and of course, I have two wonderful gentlemen who will be doing business with us this evening. And from my far right is Adebari, regular on the show, news schedules, in-house correspondent. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Favour.
It seems you decided to change what you wore yesterday, so to have
to tone it down a bit, so you're not expecting anything anytime soon.
Okay, all right. And veteran in the business of sports, one man, of course, who I admire so well, and he's always available when you want to reach out to him. I have the former media officer of Super Eagles of Nigeria, Toyin Bitoye, joins us this evening. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Favour. So good to be here as well. Good to see you.
Same here.
Always a pleasure to be here on days like this, and in the midst of two gentlemen. Whatever issues you guys were discussing, I do not have an inkling into what the issues are.
Let me just give you a tip of what we are discussing. So if I mention this name, you know what we are discussing. There's somebody on the show also who is here to also take that road, and is not available today. So.
Oh, okay. I know the guy. All right, I know the guy. Hopefully, we'll be back with us next week.
All right.
Oh, so they are in the same club.
Yeah, the same club. All right. All right, on the show today, we'll be talking all things sport, and starting, of course, from home, in as much as it's not happening in Nigeria. It's talking about table tennis, and Aruna Quadri, his rankings has improved from what we saw about some few weeks ago, where, of course, he was ranked outside top 20. But now, Aruna Quadri made a quick return to the top 20 in the latest ITTF ranking released on Tuesday, April 16th, by the World Table Tennis ruling body. Now, in the rating list made public by the ITTF, the Nigerian gained 3 steps up the ranking to occupy 19th spot in the ranking. Now, in the last 2 rankings, Aruna slid to 22 after missing the World Team Championships in Korea, as well as the WTT Champions in Incheon. But he has fought his way back to the elite rank of the rating. And by the way, I think the African Games champion Omar Assar of Egypt also gained 1 step up the rating to be ranked 16th in the world. Aruna Quadri back on top, back in the top 20, amongst the top 20 from where he was just about some weeks ago, Tony.
Yeah, I'm very happy for Aruna. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the issues he's been having with the table tennis body. I mean, sanctioning him for not showing up, in spite of the fact that he complained that he had a few issues that prevented him from coming for some of those competitions. So I'm happy to see that he's focused on his game and is back in the top 20. You know, for a long time, Aruna was Africa's best ranked player. Even in the history of table tennis, he became the best ranked African ever. But Omar Assar is seriously challenging for that right now. But on a personal level, for Aruna, I'm happy that he's back coming up. If you remember his story, the history of this guy, how he moved from number 270 in the world to the top 50 in 1 year was a remarkable story. So it's good to see that Aruna is back. And in this competition, is won a game.
World Cup, yes.
All right, so we wish him the best of luck and hope he can go as far as possible.
All right, in the world of table tennis, Okpa, you get to see that in Africa, the Egyptians are very, very good. Aside Omar Assar, we have other table tennis players amongst the ranks. But it seems that the older you get, the better you become in the world of table tennis compared to other sports where we see that when you get old, you begin to go down or decline in the sport. But for Aruna Quadri, Nigeria's only representative or person who has got into that top 20 at the moment. And you get to ask yourself, what next for table tennis in Nigeria when you look at other players that are still trying to come up, but they seem not to be able to go past Aruna Quadri even back home.
Yeah, I think aside those who are currently professional but not in the same ranks as Aruna Quadri, I think we need to start looking into grassroots. I think we need to start going into primary schools to try and develop that interest. A lot of people play table tennis as a leisure sport. So I know some schools have adopted it in their inter-house sports to make it a form of competition. But then the question is what happens after secondary school, for example, when they get into tertiary education, how do they take it to the next level and how do they then make it professionally? Because it seems to be only 4 out of 10 that actually want to take it professionally and have the means and know who can help them to make it professionally. But then again, if the Table Tennis Federation is backed with funds and plans on how to develop the next generation of talent, it will go a long way for them. And I believe we'll start having more and more top table tennis players that can make it professional. Aruna Quadri is already training his son. So you know that definitely the next couple of years, his son is going to be there in this circuit as well. But we need to spread the funds across board. We need to spread the expertise as well. So there's not just a certain set of people that get that expertise and are able to get
talking
to the
about
World
the
Cup.
funds. Is there really fund? Because you get to see the Table Tennis Federation complain that they've not been able to get funds to travel. And we also know that there's a budget from the ministry. Every year you get to see the sports ministry go and say, this is what we're going to use this year. And they'll say, okay, yes, we've approved the budget. But at the end of the day, we still have issues with funding. And then talking about the grassroots, Toyin, he made mention of going to the grassroots. We have associations in different states in Nigeria. It seems they also need to also play a major role in developing players from different states to the national.
Absolutely, that's supposed to be the structure. The Federal Ministry of Sports is at the center, but then they do not know so much about what is going on in the different states. These states are supposed to be closer to the grassroots than the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports. So you're supposed to get those talents from those grassroots and then bring them up, expose them, and bring them to the center. That's how it's supposed to work. So the states are very crucial in all of these permutations. They are so key because the local governments, the local council, the wards are the closest to the people, just the way the government is structured. So when the talents are not coming through from the states, then you cannot bring anything to the center. And so it's difficult to replace some of these talents. And then they go on. I mean, table tennis, for example, we have the likes of Segun Toriola, went to as many Olympics, I think about 6 Olympics. We have Funke Oshinake, she went to about 6 or 7 Olympics. So you have to constantly churn out talents from these grassroots, bring them to the center, and then the exposure will now take effect. If you see Egypt, you see the African champion in the women's category, 16-year-old, you know. So they are really bringing out these talents, and the future is so bright when you look at bringing young talents through to bringing them to the fore. That's an example that we need to follow. The issue of funding, we know, is being a terrible and a real problem for us in Nigeria. Funds are never enough. That's the reality. So these federations really need to do a lot of work. We need to get a lot of structure in place that will encourage the private sector to participate in helping us to discover these talents from the grassroots and then bringing them to the center. But you see, the issue of funds, government will tell you we barely have funds enough to do some of the things we want to do in terms of providing infrastructure, road, hospital, and all of that. So we do not have so much to put into sports. So we have to get the private sector involved, let them be partners in progress in this grassroots development, and then we can begin to enjoy the dividends of producing talents.
All right, okay, talking about partners, I mean, we know one thing for sure. In some states that have prioritized sports as business or in different countries in the world, we get to see companies who come into the state to invest have a percentage that they put into sport. Once upon a time in Akwa Ibom, there's a particular brand, oil brand, that also do athletics and put money into athletics. But it seems that is not the case at the moment. Everybody's just in sport as always. National Sports Festival, let's gather our team, go and compete and come back, and that's the end of it. Ise Mabongoko was discovered at the Akwa Ibom Youth Sports Festival. After that edition, there was no other edition that was done. But look at where Ise Mabong is now. She has gone to the Olympics. She was at the last Olympics. She's in the United States of America. What should be? Don't you think that the government needs to start looking at sport as a business rather than just recreational activities or just to say we are trying to do our best? Definitely.
It's 2024, and I think it would be disappointing if I find out that the government does not have that orientation. Because if you take a look at the type of exports Nigeria has had in terms of sports, it's absolutely brilliant. It's remarkable. We have some of the best sports individuals and athletes in the history of sports, in my humble opinion. So for me, I think they just need to start looking at it in a way whereby it requires investment. Because when you invest earlier, you will reap the profits. You will get return on investment one way or the other, because I'm talking about not just individual athletes, I'm talking about teams as well across different age grades. That's what the North Africans have been doing over the last decade. And then they're beginning to yield fruit now, because you see them competing at the highest level when it comes to the African Games, when it comes to the African Cup of Nations. And even at the last World Cup, we saw Morocco going so far and making a record for African countries as well. So the earlier you invest, the more you are certain to get a return on investment.
All right.
Talking about the sports as business that you mentioned, the last government. I worked with the sports minister under the Buhari administration, the second term of President Buhari, Sunday Dare, and one of the major achievements of that administration was the approval of the sports as business policy. It's a very central part of sports development. Getting private sector funding, providing tax rebates, tax holidays, incentives for those who invest in sports. So it was one of the major achievements of that administration. The sports minister did a lot of work, that's Sunday Dare, the former sports minister, in bringing that to the table. So it's now left for the present administration. Thankfully, the new sports minister, Senator
John
Owan, says, I beg your pardon, says he would continue with that policy of sports as business because it's really, really central. Government alone cannot fund sports adequately. So that's the way to go. And I'm happy that the new sports minister, Senator Eno, says he will pick it up and dust it up and implement it so that sports can begin to get a lot of support, a new lease of life in terms of funding.
All right, we'll wait to see in the coming days and how that would materialize, especially with the time that we are in the world of sports in Nigeria. Still talking Aruna Quadri, just to let you know, earlier today, he won his first game, the ITTF World Cup Masao 2024 on a good note with a 4-love win, 11-6, 11-4, 11-6, 11-6 right there. Convincing winner for him against Puerto Rico's Daniel Gonzalez to set up a final Group 15 tie against Portugal's Marcos Freitas on Wednesday. A good time to get a ranking rise and a good time to also start a tournament on a very good one for Aruna Quadri.
Yeah, that's very good. It's always important to start well. Omar Assar also had a good start, so the African representatives are doing well, and we hope they can go as far as possible, do as well as those are pictures from the game today. From the game today. Aruna is one of the best players in the world. It's not a surprise that is in the top 20. I mean, you get to this level and show that, yes, you deserve to be here.
Honestly, and the level of consistency from him is highly commendable. It's not easy, especially knowing the fact that a lot of his tournaments are self-funded. So being in a good place mentally and then being able to translate all the years of practice and experience into these tournaments to showcase yourself and to put Nigeria on the map, I think he deserves more credit for what he does.
The only African as a male that got into the quarterfinals of this particular tournament, and that shows that he's one man to look out for. By the way, let's go straight to the results from the games, especially focus on African table tennis players, both male and female. Yes, for France, the Gouzi Simon defeated El Belaili Mohammed of Egypt 3-1. Aruna Quadri won his game 4-love against Gonzalez Daniel. Omar Assar also got to a wonderful start against Almiyan Nosad. That's a good one for him, and we hope to see that these two guys go all the way to the finals. Hopefully we get to see how it pans out. On the women's category, let's quickly let you know that we also have Africans in that particular one. For Al-Dabi Miriam of Egypt, she lost a game to Pavad Pritika of France, and be looking at that one. Also, French players are very good when it comes to table tennis. This might also be a preparation for the Olympics I want to see in the next coming months. All right, away from that, let's go straight to another thing happening in the world of sports. And when you talk about an introduction of sports, different sports, especially in Africa, it seems other world bodies have decided to look at the African market, to tap into the African market. And one sport that is so prominent in the United States of America is the NFL, the National Football League. And according to reports from the recent updates, the Cleveland Browns have made history by becoming the first NFL team to secure international marketing rights in Nigeria. Now, this marks the team's debut in the National Football League's global marketing program. And of course, you look to further discuss and talk about what they are doing at the moment when it comes to the world of NFL in Nigeria. As a sports business expert, Chidi Anugolu joins us this evening all the way from Ohio, United States of America. Good evening to you and welcome to Game On. If you can hear me, kindly unmute yourself. Can you hear me, Chidi?
I can hear you, Favour. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Welcome. All right, let's quickly look at this. Now, the NFL, we know, of course, is a big sport in the United States of America. In Nigeria, we have something similar, of course, flag football. But why is the NFL specifically focusing on expanding into Africa, and what potential benefits do they see in doing so?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Well, the NFL are not just expanding in Africa. It's an international marketing program by the NFL, which they kicked off about 2 years ago. And what they're doing is they're looking to kind of, create a global expansion of the NFL into, Europe, Asia, Africa, and, excitingly Nigeria, popped up as one of the countries, for this program. And really excited for the Browns to gain marketing rights into Nigeria.
Okay, with the Cleveland Browns securing marketing rights in Nigeria, what can we anticipate in terms of your approach and initiatives in the Nigerian market?
So the whole idea is really to promote the NFL, promote American football as they call it. Just really because it's kind of new to a lot of Nigerians. So a lot of Nigerians still don't know the NFL or American football. So it's a marketing opportunity to. Nigeria is a population of over 200 million people. So it's a marketing opportunity to, kind of promote the brand in the country and grow the fan base, not just, not just here, but, in Nigeria with the massive market opportunity. So I think what we should all expect is a situation where, we're going to see more activities of the Browns in Nigeria. By extension, the NFL. We're going to see, a lot of activities, growing fan base, trying to get maybe some talent to perhaps come over and, maybe even play. There's already the NFL Pathway program, which, started a few years ago, is already in Ghana and Kenya. So we can perhaps expect to also see that sometime in Nigeria, cuts in the Browns. The Browns have got, a number of players, Nigerian decent players who play for them. So it's a really exciting time for the sport in Nigeria.
Hi Chidi. With all due respect to the Cleveland Browns, they are not the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're not the New Orleans Patriots, and they're not the Dallas Cowboys. So what unique qualities or offerings do the Cleveland Browns bring, and why should Nigerians be excited about their presence in the country's sports scene?
Thank you for that question. So the way sport business is done here is a bit different from how it's done, maybe in the UK, in Europe, or anywhere there's relegation and promotion. As you might know, recently, the XFL recently merged with the USFL to form a new league called the UFL. So also, as you know, in the NFL, there's no, teams don't get demoted, the same teams play year in, year out. If you have the money to buy a franchise and create a new team to join the NFL, then you can. So, they're a pretty decent team if you watch the Cleveland Browns. Really good team. David Njoku is there. Hakeem Adeniji is there. Just a few names of some of the Nigerians who are there. So I think we're talking about a really solid team, with a solid history here coming into Nigeria. So I think, what Nigerians should expect to be, a team with great history looking to create opportunity, not just market themselves, but also create opportunity for Nigerians to learn about the NFL. If Nigerians stay up to watch the NBA, Nigerians can stay up to watch the NFL. So it's about creating that opportunity to, kind of educate, Nigerians about the Browns, the NFL, and again, like you said, we're talking about a really solid team here with great history. And they've done well, really good in the last 2 seasons, and you never know. I know that the team from Kansas won it back to back now, but the good thing about the format of the sport business here in the United States is it gives an opportunity for anyone really to go out there and win the Super Bowl. So really exciting time.
Well, Chidi, before let me just ask a few questions around your entry into the Nigerian market. Is this like a window for you to come into Africa, or you just focused on? I know a lot of Nigerians do so well in the NFL. It's like we're built for games like that, games of power and pace. You find Nigerians there. So this entry into Nigeria, is it a window for you to come into Africa, or you just staying with Nigeria and try to get a game popular in Nigeria, get talents from Nigeria that you can ship into the United States of America?
Well, firstly, I don't work with the Browns, even though I kind of intern with the marketing team with Columbus Crew, who are jointly owned by the Browns. So the same group of company that own the Browns, own Columbus Crew, the MLS team. So it's I think generally it's exciting. I feel like we should expect a full package, both from a marketing end and from getting talent. And Nigeria is not the only country where the NFL have kind of penetrated. If you remember Super Bowl, we had the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl this year had an advert from Ghana. We have, had Jeremy Owusu, who featured in that game. He actually plays for the Browns. Also, he had OC Omenyora, who also featured in that advert. So, the Cleveland Browns coming to Nigeria, is not a one-off thing, and they're not the only NFL team, or they're not just the first of its kind, so to speak, that the NFL are coming into Africa, because they're already in Ghana. So it's going to be a continuous thing. These teams who are getting this marketing rights have about 5 years to promote themselves, promote the sport, and see how they can perhaps get talent from the countries. And we have the NFL this year going into Argentina with this marketing program, Colombia, Japan, and so the NFL already in Kenya with the flag football program. They're already in Ghana as well, and now they're coming into Nigeria this time with the marketing program being awarded to the Browns. So I don't work with the Browns. Just to say that.
Okay, thank you very much, Bob. Before we let you go, on your own perspective or your thoughts, do you think that it's a sport that would really, really thrive in Nigeria on the long run?
Well, it's Nigeria is a big market, right? Like it's like someone asked me this question today, and like a startup company, we're talking about sport memorabilia, and someone was like, there's a new company starting up, $5 million investment. Is sport memorabilia still a good business to invest in? So with any startup, take this as a startup. Like you really don't know, if it's going to be successful or if it's not going to be successful. But you have to look at the marketing strategy, the approach, and the aim, the goal. These guys seem pretty serious. Everything the NFL touches turns to gold. So from the antecedent of the NFL, you just kind of have the feeling that this is going to be a huge success. And it's not just in Africa, it's not just in Nigeria. The NFL are doing this marketing program all across the country, all across the world, more like, in Europe, Asia, and in fact, there are teams who are going to China, South Korea. So I think it's going to be a success, from what I've seen and what I've heard, from an insider perspective. I think it's going to be a huge success. These guys, really wants to come in there and just grow the sport and see how they can, they're looking for a partnership, see how they can partner with the country, grow the sport, and also kind of, open up opportunities for talents to just really love this sport, and eventually come on to play the sport.
All right, thank you very much, Chidi, for your time, and we'll wait to see, of course, how much of a development the Nigerian sector would get with the NFL trying to tap into the Nigerian market. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, that was Chidi talking about the NFL and what they plan to do in Nigeria. It seems every sport outside of the country are looking forward to the Nigerian market. You saw BAL, the Basketball Africa League, also tapping into the Nigerian market. Each and different sports come in day and night and to see how they can also, do one or two things in Nigeria. It seems that there's something we have that we do not know we have, but the other guys out there know that this is what we can get from Nigeria.
Yeah, Nigeria, I mean, when you look at the physiology of the average Nigerian, we have everything. The size, the power, the pace. And so if you want to grow your sports, sports, for example, particularly sports like NFL, that is so heavy on power and pace, you look towards the Nigerians. So it's not a surprise. And when you also look at the history of Nigerians who have excelled in the NFL and who have tried to popularize the game and try to bring a few of those things down here, then you know that this is a campaign that is in the right direction. Everybody wants to grow the sport. The Americans have, a reputation of calling their competitions World Championship, even if it is only in America. So this is now an opportunity for them to try to really touch base with other parts of the world, so that they can truly call this a World Series.
Right? True.
And
true, because the NBA is always called they are called NBA World Champions.
You know.
So it makes a lot of sense, and I think we have the natural talent, and our athletes, when we get over there, they simply just thrive, because they're just like fish in water.
I mean, if you can carry cement, if you can do that,
if you can run in traffic,
you could see now it's all about power and pace. And when you look at the physiology of the average Nigerian, particularly, maybe from the West African sub-region, you know, these guys have all the qualities to be excellent in games like the NFL.
All right, let's now go straight to the world of the Olympics. Interesting thing happened today in France, in Greece, I beg your pardon, where the torch for the Olympics was indeed lit today. The ancient Olympia in traditional ceremony on Tuesday, marking the final stretch of the 7-year preparations for the games to start on the 26th of July. Greek actress Mary Mina, playing the role of High Priestess, lit the torch using a backup flame instead of a parabolic mirror that is normally used due to cloudy skies for the start of a relay in Greece and France. It will culminate with the lighting of the Olympic flame in the French capital at the opening ceremony. Paris will host the Summer Olympics for a third time after 1900 and 1924. Finally, we're having the signs and the fever that the Olympics is just around the corner with the torch being lit today.
Yeah, you know, international competitions of this nature, there are landmarks. When it is 100 days, then you begin to feel...
Yesterday was 100 days.
Yeah, so you begin to feel that the games are really here. So it's not a surprise that this is happening. It's also a confirmation of the fact that the games are going on. Things have been a little quiet for a while, but now it has stepped up because we're really counting down. This is the real countdown to the Olympic Games. I have no doubt that this is going to be a huge success. I know France will put up a good show. There will be adequate security. You know, there's something about the Olympic Games. The IOC will always tell you that the next Olympics is always going to be the best ever. So we are hoping that what we'll see later in the year in Paris will excel above all the other Olympics we've ever seen. So
we hope so.
And then in terms of Nigerian performance as well, we hope
I think we've got 2 medals: wrestling, Oborodudu, and Ese Brume.
Yeah, at the last Olympics. So maybe this one we could...
with our athletes doing well in the United States of America.
For more. And I'm hoping for a medal in track and field as well.
Track and field?
Yeah,
maybe
I'm more optimistic in wrestling than even...
maybe the Falcons can even give us something.
That's true.
Exactly.
Anything is possible.
Definitely. We need to hope for the best. And I hope that all our athletes and the teams going, I hope they find a bit of support going. I hope that they have enough time to prepare as well so that they can do well and represent the nation in the best way possible.
All right, let's get to hear from some persons right there who were present at the ceremony. They had a lot to say about the torch being lit in Greece.
Brought us to Olympia to enjoy all of the festivities dealing with the flame. Of course, what does the flame mean across the world? Universal peace, and we are hopeful that will come to all countries.
That lady traveled all the way from the United States of America to Greece for this ceremony.
It's huge. It is huge. The Olympics is the biggest multi-sport event in the world, all right? So people save up for it, people look forward to it, and it's not a surprise that people travel from all parts of the world to just witness things of this nature. So this is the moment for you to step it up and begin to feel the spirit of the Olympics, and I hope it also translates to all those countries that will be sending athletes to the Olympic Games, that you can start to kick off your campaign and make people really know that the Olympics is around the corner. All
right, Ope, French President Emmanuel Macron also said last week that they would ask Russia to cease fire, in Ukraine during the Paris Olympics, because Olympic preaches peace. And suspending armed conflicts on Olympic truce during the Games was a standard practice in ancient Greece. Do you think that would happen? I mean, he said he wanted to try to ask Russia to say, okay, let's all come together, let's all stop the war and focus on the Olympics.
Well, I don't know. A lot of things are going on in the world at the moment. So
there's a lot of appeal.
So not just with Russia and Ukraine, Israel, Iran, and
a lot of appeal.
So then it needs to happen. If we're going to have peace, if we're going to have events whereby there are not going to be no security threats, it needs to happen. And for an event of this magnitude, they need some level of assurance that they're not going to have any sort of security threats. So doing this before the games, months before the games, is absolutely important. However, what is going to be the significance of them doing this? We will only know when the games officially begin.
All right, maybe they might also say that they would not be allowed to participate in the Olympics using their flag. Maybe that might also be an issue. But nevertheless, we'll wait to see if that would come into reality. We'll have to go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking all things football. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still watching Game On, and this time around we'll go straight to the world of football. I will start from home. The NPFL, the Nigerian Premier Football League, match day 30 fixtures and results on your screens. Enyimba International won against Heartland FC, 1-0. Enugu Rangers in the Oriental Derby won against Abia Warriors, 3-2. Gombe United doomed for relegation. You might want to say they lost to Quadri United, and they will win for the Harmony Boys, 2-1. Sporting Lagos won against Sunshine Stars, 1-0. Aqua United trashed Niger Tornadoes, 4-1 with Ubong Friday scoring a hat-trick in that particular one. And Bayelsa United defeated Katsina United 2-1. Late fixture, Benin Insurance won against Kano Pillars 2-1 actually. The game finished 2-1. Rivers United won against Plateau United 3-1. And Shooting Stars Football Club won against Lobby Stars in a game that brought tension before the game. I'm talking about the deputy governor and all the drama, but they were able to win against Lobby Stars 2-0. Let's quickly look at the table, the top 6 as it stands. By the way, we have a fixture tomorrow. Doma United will take on Remo Stars. That game will be in the far north. But then the table at the moment, Enugu Rangers still top of the table, 54 points. Enyimba follow closely. They are now second. They've dropped Lobby Stars to third to 51 points. Better goal difference against Lobby Stars, who are third. Shooting Stars Football Club, no many persons saw them coming, but they are currently fourth on the log with 49 points. I mean, to imitate a Shooting Stars Football Club, they are actually dreaming that they can actually go to the continent after how many years? I mean, over if not close to over 20 years at the moment.
I mean, they have the right to dream. When you look at the pedigree of Shooting Stars, they were the first Nigerian club to win any continental trophy. That's a long time ago. I'm not sure you were around at the time. So they have every right to dream. And when you look at the results they've been able to churn out in the last couple of weeks, although you look at Remo with 2 outstanding games, if they win one or both games, they could be going back to the top 3. But Shooting Stars have really been impressive. It all talks to being patient with your coach. A few weeks ago, the fans were, going haywire, calling for the head of the coach. And a few results down the line, he's turned things around and is now looking good and looking at the top of the table. So, yeah, Shooting Stars, I'm happy that 3 traditional clubs are doing well. Shooting Stars, Rangers. This is really encouraging for the league.
Yeah, and 1998, 1999 was the last time they were on the continent. They got to the group stage, that Shooting Stars Football Club, and they seem to have a lot of things going for them, especially picking the results away from home. Some would even say, a lot of things working for them, and also maybe the new Commissioner of Sport, who, of course, we hear that she has been supportive to the team with her presence and whatever she has been doing. Or do you think that Shooting Stars can make the final 3 at the end of the season with less than 7 games to go?
It's very possible. But when I take a look at the run of fixtures as compared to Lobby Stars as well, compared to Remo Stars, to be fair, it's very competitive for the 3 teams. But I think it's going to be a case of who is able to instill, or rather, who is able to exercise both discipline and consistency going into the tail end of the season. The NPFL, to me, is one of the most unpredictable leagues in the world.
Difficult league.
Yeah, very difficult. Going into match days, you will think that one particular team will get the victory, and then you get an astonishing result, far from what you probably expected. So for me, it's all about discipline and consistency at the business end of the season, and whichever team is able to stick with these 2 values, they will be able to be victors at the end of the season.
All right, talking about the season and what we've had so far, let's look at the bottom 6. We know that, of course, Aqua United currently in the mix, but Sunshine Stars 14th with 35 points, Bayelsa United 15th, Quadri United 16th. Now, Quadri United, as at the time they were playing a 1-1 draw, they were 18th, but after that win, they went straight to 16th. Quadri United, despite their win, are still 18th on the log, but their goal difference currently should be -3 for Quadri United. They have -3 goal difference. Rivers United, they won their game also. And interestingly, Rivers United, they currently have 7 outstanding games. If they win the 7 outstanding games, they can also go straight to the number 4 position on the table. I mean, the league is really interesting. But for Quadri United, a lot of things are not really working for them this season, despite the fact that they've also invested. But what do you think is the problem, considering that they won the league 2 seasons ago?
I can't really place what the problem is with Aqua United. The same quality of players, the support from the state government is there, and the results have refused to come. They've changed coaches, the problems persist, and all of that. They have a fantastic facility there in Uyo, one of the best on the continent, where they play their games. The ambience is fantastic, and yet the results are not coming. So they really need to find a way to pick up these points, have a good vein of form towards the end of the season to escape. Because when you look at the table and you look at where they are, just 2 points off Bayelsa United. Yes, they can do it, but then they need a lot of consistency. The problem with them is today they've won convincingly, 4-1. The next game at home, they could be lose. They could be losing.
Exactly, that's how it's...
Yeah, so it's something that they really need to take a good look at, find some consistency, as you said, and be able to churn out some results back to back before you can think of escaping the drop.
All right, 7 games to go. 7 games to go. We had match day 31 today. I want to also ask, how does the IMC or the league board, plan to solve the issue with Rivers United? They have 7 matches outstanding.
Fixture congestion.
And the club sides are saying, we want to see Rivers United play all their games before we continue. How can a team play 6 games or 7 games within the space of two months?
Yeah, for me, I think the fact that we are even here today is due to poor planning and poor implementation. Because when you take a look at the top 5 leagues in the world or any other standard European league, planning and implementation is done properly, irrespective of the number of competitions that they get to compete in. Because if I want to take an English club plying their trade in the Premier League, for at least a top 6 side will always compete in at least 4 competitions or 5, as the case may be, within the football calendar year.
And some will say the dynamics of Africa is different in terms of the transportation system.
That's an issue, but at the same time, it's not in anybody's favor for you to have a team pile up 7 games. It's unhealthy. You pile up 7 games, you are still looking at the FA Cup and all of that, and there's a time frame for you to finish the league. So what's going to happen? But I think, for fairness, what should be done is Rivers United will have to clear those outstanding games as they go on. They have to double up on those games.
Okay.
And then the last 3-4 games should be games that will be played about the same time. It doesn't make any sense for you to have about 7 games and then you plot your graph and, okay, I'm going to escape the drop, and then the other teams around you are not sure of where they are likely going to pick points or escape the drop. So this opens the door for a lot of manipulation and match fixing and all of those allegations, and you don't want that to hamper the credibility of the league. So the Nigerian Professional Football League will have to look at those fixtures for Rivers United, plug them in, and ensure that before we get to the last 4 games of the season, all those outstanding games have been cleared.
All right, we'll wait to see how it goes. In South Africa, Mamelodi Sundowns have just 2 outstanding matches. They played on Friday last week, and they played on Monday yesterday. That's to show you how it is.
And they're in the semi-final of the Champions League.
Dreams FC of Ghana have 2 outstanding, but then Al Ahly of Egypt, they have about 6 outstanding in Egypt.
So we are following the Egyptian
movement. But anyways, let's move away from the men's league now to the women's league. We'll have interesting fixtures lined up for you on Wednesday. Let's quickly look at Group A and Group B. Heartland Queens will take on Nigeria Ratels, Abia Angels against Confluence Queens, Royal Queens of Warri will take on Danas Ladies, and Nasarawa Amazons will take on Adamawa Queens. In Group B, we'll have Robo Queens against Delta Queens. That game is in Lagos. Sunshine Queens against Ekiti Queens. Edo Queens will take on Remo Ladies, and that will be a return for Wemimo, who of course was once the coach of Edo Queens. Rivers Angels in the South Derby will welcome Bayelsa Queens, and Coach White Obunda is talking tough ahead of the game.
We are well prepared for the match against Bayelsa, knowing fully well that that match will go a long way in helping the team qualify for the Super 6. And I will say that I think we played an FA Cup final Saturday. I think we used that match as a part of preparation for the match against Bayelsa on Wednesday. A very strong match a very good fight from Bayelsa on Wednesday because knowing fully well, like you rightly say, the first of the 1-1 draw in Bayelsa in Yenegua in the first round. I think they are coming up to ensure that so doesn't repeat again. But we here in the passenger, but I would say we are well prepared to ensure that we get the 3 points at stake. I know the match is not going to be easy one, but we are ready for the fight.
White Ogbonda talking tough ahead of the game, looking forward to the Super 6, and that game is a must-win, not like a must-win game though, but they just need to win for pride to make sure that they qualify to the Super 6 that would go down, in the next few months. We don't even know the time actually though, but we just know that one day they would actually fix a date.
and hopefully they finish it before July. I'd really hope they do, because by the end of July, you're starting to think about pre-season already.
Not even pre-season. The CAF Women's Champions League is around the corner. The playoffs and
our teams seem to be adequately prepared.
Yeah.
I like the Women's League. I call it the League of Queens, Angels, and Babes. Yeah. But Rivers Angels, I mean, used to be the powerhouse, used to be the favorite to win every competition in Nigeria. And I know there's a lot of support that comes from the Rivers State government. So they should do all that they can to get to the playoffs, and we'll see how they can pick it up from there. Bayelsa United as well, Delta Queens. These are top teams. But for me, I'm happy with the quality of the league. I hope we can do a lot more, because this is the bedrock of women's football development. The league, organize it properly, let the teams get enough rest, plan your calendar so that we know when the teams are off season, when they are in season. And then you are able to put all of these factors into consideration.
All right, quick one. Let's move straight to an issue that is really rocking African football. Barely 8 months to the end of the calendar year. The African Soccer Ruling Body CAF is yet to name a date for the Women's AFCON, the CHAN tournament. We're having issues till now, and CAF somehow have not said anything concrete as to the date for this tournament. Before now, it was said that Morocco will host the WAFCON, but till today, there is no date for that. No draws has been made, and yet we're having international tournaments that the women have to go play for. But right there in Africa, it seems the CAF is paying lip services to women football.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we discussed this, I think, concerning WAFCON as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think the usual window is usually in November.
Yeah.
And considering the fact that the Olympics are set to take place as well, obviously, in my own opinion, I don't think it can happen at the same time as the Olympics. But we do have one issue, which is the fact that it seems to be that WAFCON is not even recognized in the FIFA calendar. So, but then, talking about CAF, it is up to them to make sure that this event happens.
Okay.
But the question is, how can the WAFCON and CHAN happen within the same calendar year and not be an issue of an overload for the women? And what windows are they going to
The CHAN
have?
actually is for the male, the boys.
For the guys.
But then again,
yeah.
but looking at the calendar as well, can they have it at the same time? Can they have it one after the other before the end of the year?
Because the CHAN is for players based in Africa, they can always squeeze out, carve out a time. All of you are here, so guys, come and play. But for the WAFCON, we need to be a little bit more strategic. Women's football is growing in leaps and bounds. We saw the impact at the World Cup. The women's game has something else now. So CAF has to be a part of that momentum. And for me, it starts with how well and how much of respect we give to the women's game. The same level of attention that the guys are getting with the AFCON, like the quality that we saw in Côte d'Ivoire earlier this year, is something that we should be doing for the women. The women's game is growing, and Africa cannot afford to just lag behind. And it starts with the kind of attention we give to tournaments like the AFCON.
All right, let's quickly move straight now to Europe. The UEFA Champions League is ongoing, and interesting results. Before we came into the studio, the results were not like this, but now we're seeing that Paris Saint-Germain has taken the lead and currently playing 3-1. Borussia Dortmund against Atletico Madrid 4-2 at the moment. It was 2-0 before we came into the studio. Now it's 4-2. Crazy results we are having in football this night.
Definitely, and I think for Borussia Dortmund as well, I honestly didn't expect that from them. I believe that Diego Simeone was going to see off the job at the Signal Iduna Park. But it seems like the black and yellow army have gotten behind the team, and the boys have been able to turn this tie around. The likes of Sabitzer, Julian Brandt as well have been able to contribute, and the Fufu master himself, Karim Adeyemi.
Fufu is working magic.
Definitely, it seems to be working magic.
I'm sure he's giving his teammates a lot of fufu.
Oh, definitely, they need it. They need it.
It's been a roller coaster. That game has been a roller coaster. Because at some point, first time it was 2-0.
2-0.
Then at some point it became 2-2, and we felt Atletico were going to hold on and pull through. But now it's now 4-2. So
and then for Barcelona, I mean, Ronaldo Araujo getting a red card seems to have turned the game around, and now PSG seem to be able to qualify. Xavi as well has been sent off from the touchline, so definitely he's not happy with some things going on. So he's going from bad to worse for the Catalans.
Barcelona.
All right, sad one indeed for the teams tonight. But nevertheless, some bookmakers, are not happy with the fact that we are having go over 2.5. People are marking their tickets at the moment. But interestingly, we get to also see interesting fixtures tomorrow. But today, we'll definitely know who and who will go straight to the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League. All right, before we go, on April 11th, 2001, in a World Cup qualifier against Australia, American Samoa, an incorporated territory of the United States located in the South Pacific Ocean, southeast of the islands of the island, their country goalkeeper went on to concede 31 goals without reply, and goalkeeper Niki Salapu was the man who conceded the goals. Now, American Samoa's population at that time was only 58,000 compared to Australia's 19 million. The Minnows had been admitted to FIFA only 3 years earlier, and goalkeeper conceded 31 goals without reply.
These are the kind of goalkeepers that help you become the highest goal scorer. Interesting statistics, really. Yeah.
And his life will never be the same. I believe the banter would always go around till he's 6 feet under the ground.
I hope he's not traumatized.
Hopefully not. But knowing football fans, we love to banter a lot. And I'm sure people see him on the street randomly and always remind him,
it will be praying that somebody should concede 32. And take that record off him.
All right. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. Opeyemi, thank you very much for coming around.
Thank you, Favour. Thank you. Happy to be here.
All right. And Opey, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure.
All right, to you, our viewers, want to say thank you for watching today's episode on Game On. We'll do the same time tomorrow and have the very best of sport. My name is Favour Itua. Up next is the news.